What is up, everyone? Welcome to this week's edition of Tuesdays with Turbo. I am really excited about this episode. Since the background change and all of the kind of upgrades here at the studio, we've kind of been, I more or less kind of focusing on these like game show style shows. So, we started with covered, not covered, or it depends. We did the insurance court last week. And then this week, we're going to be kind of continuing that with a little bit of a twist. We're going to be talking about, is it covered under your insurance? Is it maintenance, or does it depend? So here's the thumbnail for this week: insurance or maintenance. Who pays for that? And at the end, I'm going to give you kind of my kind of 3 rules for documenting stuff that happens. So stick around for that. But yeah, these are real life scenarios. These are scenarios that we get time and time again. And one thing that I've always tried to do on this channel is kind of take apart some insurance mysteries or myths, or however you want to do it. And this format is a little bit more fun, instead of me just sitting here going, this is not covered, this is covered, this is covered if this happens. So again, these are real life scenarios. These are real life scenarios. So let's get locked in. I do want to say thank you for everyone watching live, whether you're on Facebook, whether it's my page or Abbott and Power's page, or over on my YouTube. So wherever you're watching, thank you, thank you, thank you. And for those of you watching live, I have 8 scenarios that we're going to break down. Comment whether it's insurance, maintenance, or it depends, because there are certain times when it is going to depend. Now, before we jump into the game here, I always like to preface these things with different insurance companies have different rules. These are generalized scenarios with generalized answers. So if you want specific answers, contact your agent and get it from the horse's mouth, if you will. Let's get into the game show portion of this. Case number 1. We have a leaking roof. After an all-night rainstorm, Bill noticed water dripping through his bedroom ceiling. A roofer inspects it and says that the shingles are worn out, brittle, and approximately 20 years old. There are no missing shingles, no hail marks, and no tree damage. Now, this is something we get quite frequently because, for whatever reason, and I know for a fact that when you are a homeowner and it's time to get a new roof, you always try, or at least try to get the longest lasting shingles for your buck. And even though these shingles might have a 50-year warranty, that doesn't mean that you can wait 50 years in between updating your roof. Just because the shingles are 50 years old. Now, if that's the case, then I hope whatever warranty process that the shingles entail, if something were to happen, that's where you would get retribution, not with your insurance. Just because they're a 50-year-old shingle doesn't mean that your insurance is going to cover your roof on a replacement cost basis for 50 years. That's just kind of asinine to think about. So in this case, Bill notices water dripping through his ceiling in his bedroom. 20-year-old roof, no missing shingles, no hail damage, and no tree has fallen on it. And again, that's going to be maintenance. That's a maintenance issue. That isn't an insurance issue. And one thing that that's going to be something I want you to think about in each one of these scenarios is there an event that we can go back to which caused the scenario? Now, you might be saying in this scenario, well, the rainstorm caused the leak. The leak is a result of the rain, but did the rain cause the leak? We have to be able to pinpoint this to an actual cause. Now, if this was a brand new roof and there was hail damage or a tree fell on it or the wind just ripped off shingles, then yes, by all means. If it's a 10-year-old roof and the same scenario happens, yes. But sometimes, even with a new roof, it could be that the roof was installed incorrectly. And that's on the contractor who did that or whoever replaced the roof. That's not on the insurance company. So again, whenever we talk about claims, we have to bring it back to, was there an event that caused this? So keep that in mind as we kind of go through this. Scenario number two. A strong windstorm blows 8 shingles off Susan's roof. Before the storm, the roof wasn't leaking. She finds shingles in the yard and photographs the damage immediately. Now, would this be something that insurance would cover? Is this a maintenance issue, or would it depend? Let me know in the comments. And it seems like, knock on wood, we haven't had too many of these this year, but there have been a couple of them where high winds, we've had, trees fall on garages. We've had shingles fly off roofs. So this, again, these aren't abnormal situations. These are everyday situations. And for something like this, insurance, by all means, because it's an event that's covered. Wind is covered. Now, again, going back to our last example or last scenario, this is also meaning that the roof is in good shape and it's not 20, 30 years old. So kind of keep that in mind as we kind of go through this. Wind is commonly covered for a loss. The carrier may pay to repair the area directly damaged by the wind and not replace the whole entire roof. Again, it's subject to deductible and dependent. And this is very company dependent as we're going into, we're into 2026, going into 2027. Insurance companies are being specifically picky on roofs and in particular roof age. So with some companies, they start depreciating the roof value at 10 years, some at 5. It just all depends. And when I mean depreciate, instead of, it's $10,000 to replace the entire roof, well, it's 10 years old. We're only gonna pay 8 because it's the roof is depreciated a certain amount. So again, that's something you want to check your policy documents or get a hold of your agent to see how your insurance company, rates for roofs and how they treat roof age when it comes to claims, because roof age can be a very, very, very heavy factor when it comes to rating. We're seeing with a lot of our book of business, when we go into the policy, there's not even a roof age listed. So when that happens, the insurance company just automatically thinks all right, well, this house was built in 1965. We don't have a roof age, so we have to assume that the roof is still original to the house, which 99.9% of the time is not the case. So we're having to reach out to our clients and say, hey, when was the last time you had a roof replacement? And if it's been, recently enough and we can provide evidence or documents to prove that the roof age is as it is, then we're talking huge discounts. So again, something to reach out to your agent and talk to them about how does your insurance company handle roof age and roof claims. So kind of keep that going. Now, one twist that I do want to throw into this, kind of like I mentioned, let's say that the wind blows the shingles off, the adjuster gets out there and the shingles are twisted, they're curled, they're brittle, and he or she can tell that this is an old roof. Then we're entering into some murky waters. Like I said, there could be no coverage or some diminished coverage or depreciated coverage because of the roof age. So kind of keep that in mind. And again, different companies handle roof claims differently. So make sure you're on. Make sure you're definitely on track with that. And keep in mind too, just because you have coverage doesn't mean they're going to give you a free roof. That's a very common misconception. Very common. especially if, say there's, a 2-story part and a 1-story part. Well, the 2-story part's the one that sustained the damage. The 1-story part is still fine. They're not going to replace both sections, just the damaged one. So keep that in mind. Let's go to number 3. And again, if you guys and gals have any questions, go ahead and shoot me a comment. I will answer them as I go. And if it's a question I do not have an answer for, I will get back with you with an answer. We'll find one together. So scenario number 3. A healthy maple tree is knocked over during a windstorm and crashes through the attached garage roof. It damages the roof, garage door, and Ryan's lawnmower. That would be tragic. That would be absolutely tragic. Now, there's kind of a little sequence here that I want to kind of let's put it together. Healthy maple tree. Okay, healthy. That's part of that. That's part of this. During a windstorm, there's our event. Crashes through the attached garage roof, damages roof, garage door, and the lawnmower. Now, the reason I wanted to put the lawnmower in this is because you might think they're like, all right, well, a lawnmower is personal property. The attached garage is the dwelling. So are we having to do with 2 different deductibles here? We'll get into that. So the answer to this one is it's insurance. It's your insurance will cover this. This is sudden accidental storm damage. Policy typically responds to the covered damage to the house and covered personal property, subject to the policy limits and deductible. Now, if you've got an astronomical deductible, then we're talking a whole different story. But if if it damages my zero turn, that's a few $1,000s, and the roof probably some more, few more $1,000. So, and the garage doors aren't cheap either. So, you would have to have an astronomical deductible for this not to be a worthwhile claim here. And again, just because we're talking about the structure and the personal property, now, generally speaking, I mean, even all the insurance companies I've worked with, there's not a separate deductible for personal property and the structure. So this is something that would be covered. Now, another thing to add on top of that is, yes, we've got the repairs to the roof, we've got the repairs to the mower, we have the repairs to the garage door, but what about the tree itself? And a lot of companies will have up to $500 for tree and debris removal. Again, some companies offer endorsements to where we can bump that up. So you're not you wouldn't be paying anything for that tree, or hopefully anything for that tree to get taken out. So again, another conversation to have with your agent. Now let's put a little bit of a twist on this. Let's say that the tree was visibly dead leading towards the house for 2 years, but Ryan never did anything about it. This could be, and this is something we get all the time, and it especially happens when, let's say, it's your neighbor's tree, or in one instance where it's part of a municipality's property, where said tree was their tree from their property fell on your stuff. It stinks. It does, and there really isn't anything you as the homeowner can do if it's someone else's tree. Now, you yourself could pay to have it removed if they agree. Probably the best way is to get with your neighbor and kind of split the cost, because it's not just alleviating, a threat to your property in structures, but possibly theirs as well. So splitting the cost kind of, cuts the bill in half, makes it a little easier to digest, because insurance, it does not pay for preventative stuff like that. It'd be nice, but we're already paying a whole lot for home insurance. Could you imagine if this was just part of it? Because nothing is going to be for free. Everyone's premiums would have to increase to take care of stuff like that. I mentioned this with floods floods all the time. If flood was just a covered peril on your homeowner's policy, could you imagine how much more expensive it would be? Kind of crazy. So again, keep that in mind. And again, the tree falling is the event. So that's something, and it was caused by wind. So we have an event, we have a covered loss, depending on deductibles, which in this case I would be, unless you have a $20,000 deductible. This is something, we could we can move very, very confidently in getting you covered. Let's continue on the whole tree here. Let's say same windstorm knocks down a tree in Ryan's yard, just in the middle of the yard. Knocks a tree over, but lands harmlessly across the backyard. It doesn't hit a house, garage, fence, driveway, or any other covered property. Is this covered? And this is something we get constantly. And it's hard because if the client is elderly, it makes it increasingly difficult, because this is something that is definitely maintenance. Now, again, some companies do give tree and debris removal coverage. If you and again, this is something where if you are able to, or if you have a family member or neighbor that is able to cut that tree up, a lot of times folks will just cut it up if you let them have the wood, something like that. Even if we are able to do a claim, is it really worth it in the long run? Because you're going to lose your claims free discount. If we have multiple of these in a short amount of time, then the company could non-renew you for multiple claims in a very short amount of time. So this is something that is, I highly recommend maintenance on this. Even though, like I said, there are some companies that would, but your homeowner's insurance is not there as a yard cleanup plan. Kind of put it in that perspective. The tree didn't damage any property or block something from addressing the property. Removing it is usually the homeowner's responsibility. So again, I have a very good feeling, even if you are elderly, and if you are and you're one of our clients and you cannot get someone to come do it, let us know. Okay, let us know. Now, a twist. Let's throw a little curveball on this. The tree falls across the driveway and traps the homeowner's vehicle in the garage. Same. Some policies again do give tree and debris removal. This is something that it could. And again, if it lands on the detached garage, then there's definitely coverage. A fallen tree is not an automatic claim. What it landed on definitely matters. So let's move away from our amazing trees here, and let's go to water again. Here's the scenario number 5. During a heavy rainstorm, the sump pump stops working. Water rises through the sump pit and damages the finished basement, including drywall, flooring, and furniture. Is this something that is covered? This one's kind of tricky. This one, because we do have a heavy rainstorm, so there's our event. But is this something that's covered? Is it something that's covered? And the answer here is going to be it's honestly going to depend. Standard homeowners policy commonly provides little to no coverage for water backup through a sewer or drain or sump pump. This is where you could pick up and buy extra coverage for sewer and water backup and sewer backup. This is where it comes in handy. If you have a finished basement, this is something I always put on policies. And even if it doesn't damage anything, like the drywall, furniture, flooring, stuff like that, just to have that coverage there so ServPro can come and clean it up is paramount. Because me personally, hand up, I would much rather pay a little bit extra in premium. So if this does happen, I'm not down there with a shop vac for hours. Or if it is a sewer or septic backup, I'm not down there cleaning up the nasty stuff. I would much rather have ServPro take care of that and buy a little bit extra coverage. And again, these normally are, they start at $5,000 worth of coverage and go up and up and up in $5,000 increments. And depending on your company, you can get more and more coverage. And if you do have a very elaborately finished basement, you want to get more coverage than just $5,000, because talking to our ServPro guys and gals, just a cleanup nowadays is right around $5,000. So talk to your agent, make sure that you are covered if this does happen. If not, pick up that little endorsement if possible, or upgrade your policy from silver to gold, or however your company does it. This is something that is very, very advantageous to have, because some pumps do fail. They do. And they really do not give you any sort of warning. It's just they're working one day and not working the next. There are some people have backups. Some people have battery backups in case the power goes out. All very, very good ideas. But in the end, let's get a coverage on there in case anything mechanical does fail, that you're properly taken care of. All right. Let's go to case number 6. Case number 6, we've got lightning. Lightning strikes near a home immediately afterwards. Your television, desktop computer, and gaming system no longer work. Is this maintenance? Is this insurance? Or does it depend? And this is something that, again, very, very common occurrence. And it's not even so much as, the power going out. It could be a brownout. And a lot of times it's not just the power going out, it's when it comes back on that we're seeing a lot of these electronics, appliances, HVAC, your well, all of this kind of stuff being kind of goofed up once the power gets turned back on, because it has that initial surge, which is why most of us do have surge protectors. But again, those can fail as well. So is this maintenance? Is it insurance, or does it depend? And this is insurance. Lightning is commonly a covered cause of loss. The evidence supports that lightning or resulting power surge damages the electronics. The personal property portion of the policy may respond. Settlement will depend on your deductible, replacement cost versus actual cash value, stuff like that. Now, here's the thing, like a company with auto owners and a lot of other companies are starting to offer this endorsement. It's equipment breakdown, and it covers exactly this. Power goes out, power comes back on. Next thing you know, a handful of electronics or appliances, pools, HVAC, wells, anything that's hooked up to your power, if it does happen to burn out because of something like this, we can use this endorsement called equipment breakdown, where no matter what your policy deductible is, it takes that deductible down to $500 and gives you $100,000 worth of coverage on this. And with auto owners in particular, if we're able to use that endorsement, it does not count against your claims-free discount, because it's something from nature or something you definitely can't control. So again, this is very, very company dependent. And again, if you don't have an endorsement like this, here's where the practical problem comes in. Total damage is $1,600 for all of the electronics that we just talked about. Homeowner has a $1,500 deductible, or even a $2,000 deductible. So filing a claim wouldn't make any sense. So again, in the specifically with auto owners, the equipment breakdown endorsement is $30 a year. In my opinion, it's something I put on every single home policy that I write with them. So very, very powerful, very inexpensive to carry that coverage. It's less than $3 a month. Now I sound like I'm selling life insurance, but yes, for less than $3 a month, we can have all of your everything hooked up to your power covered at a lower deductible. Let's get to number 7. Again, this is something. Number 7 isn't as prevalent or as common as the 6 prior, but it is something that that really does happen. Let me paint the picture for you. A homeowner notices a musty smell. A contractor opens up the wall and discovers mold caused by a shower pipe that has been slowly leaking in it for approximately a year. Is this going to be maintenance? Is this going to be insurance? Or is it really going to depend? And this happens all the time. It happens all the time because pipes are in walls. We can't see into the walls, and we normally don't notice something's wrong until it's too late. So is this going to be a maintenance? Is it going to be an insurance, or does it depend? This is going to fall squarely on maintenance because, again, this is something that's happened over time. It wasn't caused by one event that led to a massive leak. It's a slow leak that just happened to be going over time. So we can't, the first part of our checklist, we can't narrow it down to one event. So that right there is gonna lead us to this is gonna have to fall on maintenance. Long-term seepage, deterioration, and failure to address an ongoing moisture problem are commonly excluded. Mold itself may also be excluded or subject to a low coverage limit. And again, this is, especially if it's a pipe behind a wall, definitely not something that's covered. Now, let's throw a little twist on it. A pipe suddenly bursts when the homeowner's at work. The homeowner discovers it that afternoon, immediately shuts the water off, and hires a mitigation company. Mold later develops as part of that covered water loss. Now the answer is it depends. And normally I would kind of lean towards this would be an insurance situation if it did have a burst pipe, because we can go back to one event. And that's what caused the damage instead of something gradually leaking over time. So yeah, kind of keep that in mind. Insurance may cover damage caused by the pipe without having to pay. No, it's just, that doesn't make any sense. All right, let's go to the last one. And this is something that I'm sure a lot of us have thought about, especially with it being summertime, and it's getting towards the end of the summer, and in the fall is when I like to hang out on my deck the most. I don't want to sweat. I mean, it is what it is. Fall is just my favorite time of year. A little crisp in the air, sunny. It's nice out. Got the grill going. Got the smoker going. Just hanging out on the deck. Now, here's the scenario. Family is sitting out on a backyard deck when it collapses. An inspection finds rotted support posts, rusted fasteners, and years of neglected maintenance. Is this going to be maintenance, insurance, or is it going to depend? Again, let's look at our checklist. Is it one event? Now, you could say the event was people standing on it, but is there one event that caused the damage? And the answer is going to be no. So this, again, is going to be maintenance. Rotted wood, rusted fasteners, these are all things that happen over time. This isn't one specific scenario that caused immediate damage. This is something, again, like our prior example, happens over time. So this would be maintenance. This would definitely be maintenance. Cost of rebuilding the deteriorated deck is generally the homeowner's responsibility. Rot and deterioration develop over time and aren't sudden accidental losses. Again, getting back to that. All right. Let me see. Check my notes here. Okay. Here's kind of my 3 tips here. When you look at any scenario, and this could be happening to you, could be happening to a family member, anytime that you're talking about, well, is this something we should do? Is it something we should file a claim? Give yourself a 3-point checklist. Sudden beats gradual. If it's sudden, we might have a claim. If it's gradual, less likely that we're going to be able to get coverage from anywhere. Cause matters more than the damage. So whether it's sudden or gradual, what caused it? Can we go back to one event, such as a storm? Is there anything that, one event that caused the damage? Damage might be great. Damage might be little. But can we pinpoint one occurrence, one activity, one specific spot in time? So that's 2. And 3, coverage doesn't automatically mean we should file a claim. Getting back to how much damage, the deductible, estimated repair costs, depreciation, and claim history all matter here. All matter. So again, just the 3 rules: sudden beats gradual, cause matters more than the damage, and coverage doesn't automatically mean worth claiming. So keep those 3 things in mind, and I think your homeowner's journey should be a whole lot better. A whole lot better. And ladies and gentlemen, I have mentioned, if you have questions, reach out to your agent. If you want us to be your agent, I'd be more than happy to. The closing screen here, I'm going to leave up. It has my direct email as well as the office phone number. Give us a call. You can message me on Facebook, however you want to get a hold of me, however you feel comfortable. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any one of those avenues. But if you'd like to get a quote from us, I'd be more than happy to. If you just want me to review your policy to kind of see where there might be some gaps, I'd be more than happy to do that as well. That's going to do it for me this week, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone have a great week. Get out and enjoy the sunshine. Get out and enjoy the last bit of summer we have left, because before we know it, it's going to be cold, and I don't want it to be cold quite yet. So everyone enjoy your week. I will see you next week. And